Thanks for staying with In Your Interest. You see, NATO was built on one singular promise: stand together in war. And today, that very promise is under question, because when allies hesitate and then Pentagon talks about punishment, is this still an alliance, or is this a political transaction of sorts? A leaked Pentagon email has torn open one of the most closely guarded secrets in Western diplomacy, that the United States and its NATO allies are no longer on the same page. The email, which has now been widely reported, reveals that American officials flagged a serious breakdown in trust with several NATO partners during the ongoing Iran conflict. Allies including Spain, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Finland either denied access, refused basing rights, or withheld overflight support for the American operations. The Pentagon memo describes such cooperation as a baseline expectation with NATO. In plain language, the United States is saying we expected this as a minimum and we didn't get it. And then it gets more dramatic. The email reportedly floated the idea of suspending Spain from NATO altogether because of Madrid's refusal to support operations against Iran. Now, the alliance itself has pushed back, saying no single member, including the United States, can unilaterally suspend another. But the fact that the idea was even put in writing tells you something about the temperature inside Pentagon right now. This didn't come from nowhere. Donald Trump has been frictious with NATO for over a decade now. Back in 2016, he called the alliance obsolete. Through his first term, he hammered allies over defense spending, warning that countries not meeting the 2% GDP target were, in his words, delinquent. He has questioned Article 5, the collective defense clause that is essentially NATO's founding promise. And now, in his second term, with a shooting war involving Iran, he has gone further, calling NATO a paper tiger and suggesting that American commitments to allies who won't cooperate should be conditional. The Europeans, for their part, have called the Iran war a war of aggression, not a conflict falling under NATO's mandate. The British government described Trump's remarks about allied nations as insulting and appalling. And across Europe, there is now a serious political conversation about what they call strategic autonomy, building a defense and foreign policy posture that is less dependent on Washington or Pentagon. Step back from the immediate crisis and what you see is a world realigning in real time. A divided Western alliance hands Vladimir Putin exactly the kind of breathing room he has been looking for. A credible NATO deterrence depends on unity. If that unity is publicly fractured, Russia's leverage in the Ukrainian conflict and beyond grows considerably. China and Russia both benefit from this moment. When Washington and Brussels are publicly at odds, it becomes easier for rivals to pull fence-sitting countries further out of the American orbit. And there is also the Greenland question. Let's not forget that American pressure on Denmark over Greenland, a NATO member state, has added another layer of unease inside the alliance. And as the United States increasingly pivots its strategic attention towards China and the Indo-Pacific, Europe is being pushed, willingly or not, towards building its own security capacity. The deeper risk is what analysts are calling a two-tier NATO, one bloc led by the United States and a separate European-led defense structure operating on its own terms. And that is not a formal split, but it is a functional one. Big questions that we must ask and understand. Can NATO survive public talk of suspending any particular ally, let alone Spain? Is this the end of the post-World War II order or a temporary rupture? Major General Rajan Kochar, defense and geopolitical expert, soon going to be with us, and Ambassador Manju Seth, former diplomat, with us on the broadcast. Ambassador, how do we look at this? There is trust and alliance breakdown quite clearly. Then you've got the NATO's core purpose as well. If NATO allies won't support the United States in these kind of times, in major military conflicts, look at the Hormuz example just more than a fortnight back, even logistically in a sense, does that fundamentally weaken the idea of a collective security, that they're not setting out to do what they were uniquely made for? And then there's the trust deficit. The USC's denial of the air bases and the overflight operations as a clear-cut betrayal. So what's your assessment and reading here, ma'am?
Absolutely. This has been, as we've been seeing actually, right since President Trump took office the second time, he has continuously, triggered off, I think, confrontation, conflict, and verbal conflict with NATO allies right from the beginning with Europe. And I think Iran, and during the Ukraine war also, we saw there was a bit of a standoff off and on. And now with the Iran war, I think it has come out in the open. And also, I think, because he set off the tariff wars, unprovoked tariff wars, not bothered about whether they were friends or foes. I think that has already weakened this, alliance, or the transatlantic alliance and the NATO alliance. And the whole purpose of NATO was to, to face or to act together in the face of any question. But this is again completely, we see it's being, I think it's temporarily ruptured, at least, definitely. Permanently, we can't say, because things change every day.
Ma'am, Donald Trump is known for verbal bombs, but I mean, I'm just trying to understand, is this serious enough to shake the alliance?
No, I don't think so. It's not going to shake it. It's going to temporarily ripple it. There'll be a ripple there, but I don't think it's permanently going to damage it completely. But of course, the trust deficit has come, as you very rightly said, and trust deficit is at the core of all these defense alliances. So that,
but then what are we to make of Spain's, Sanchez's comments, how he shrugged the entire Pentagon mail off? He says, we don't work off of mails, we work off of official documents. And then you've got United Kingdom that said this is clearly insulting and appalling. And Donald Trump and his verbal bombs have already irked the European allies time and again, time and again. Something's got to give sometime.
Yes, but I think till they, have their own robust and strong defense cooperation structure in place, because they, were completely dependent on, or largely, not completely, but largely dependent on the US for security and defense purposes. So I think till they get their act together and have more collaboration in this and make NATO stronger without the US, in case which it has been threatening to do in case it leaves. It will impact, but till that time, I think they have very little option to continue with this alliance. Maybe, as I said, trust deficit rupture is there, temporary rupture, but I think it's too early to write it off completely.
Perhaps, Madam Ambassador. But you see, the Denmark layer is all too real, to brush under the carpet. General Kochhar, let me quickly bring in Major General Rajan Kochhar. Sir, the burden sharing argument, General. Trump has long argued that NATO is unfair, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, the entire GDP, the 2% that you had to spend on military. From a military point of view, is this still a Donald Trump doctrine, or is this a pressure tactic at play?
Thank you, Kabir. A very interesting discussion. I have also heard the ambassador. See, you have to understand that why NATO came into place, and especially most of the NATO countries which are powerful today have a proximity to Russia, because that was the basic aim of the alliance, to contain the Russians. And the Russians also had this grievance against the NATO, that they were planning to encircle Russia in a manner, then trying to expand the alliance, try to include Ukraine, other countries into the alliance. So there is no way, I think, Donald Trump as a president of the United States can wish away the importance of NATO. And this particular aspect, when he talks about that NATO is not contributing enough and I'm contributing more to that, is more to do with his announcement in America, where he wants to project that the America make America great again, because ultimately he wants to curtail the spending, the resource which is going out of America in maintaining this alliance. He wants a kind of a parity in terms of spending, which is not practically possible. Because NATO over the years, because of the US umbrella, never went about enhancing its armed forces budget. It was around 2%. Today also it's around 2% of the GDP. And Donald Trump was all the time emphasizing that you want to make it 5% of the GDP because of less dependence on the United States.
You're right. He does have a credible point over there militarily, that, you've been relying on US for so long. Where are the goods? I mean, what are you bringing onto the table? We can understand that.
He has a credible point, and he's talking sense. See,
But the ambassador thinks that this is not a breaking point yet, General. Do you think this is the breaking point for the NATO alliance from, collective security alliance to now, a conditional reset where interest takes over this partnership, interest-based partnership rather?
Very interesting. See, I would not like to totally say that the ambassador is not right. I would like to say that this is the beginning of the breakup, because the process has started.
Okay.
And it may not happen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. But ultimately, I think the epitaph of this alliance is done. And I don't foresee in times to come this alliance again rejuvenating as a threat to the Russians, because basically if you go back into history, Kabir, when you look at the Warsaw Pact and how the things shaped up as a countervailing force to the NATO, because right now Russians don't have any kind of a forceful alliance as such to challenge this alliance of the Americans. So I think Russians would be very happy. They would be having a vodka today, and they would be having your cheers.
So the minute Spanish Prime Minister shrugged it off, there were vodka shots in Kremlin. Madam Ambassador, I mean, I've completely run out of time here. I wish we could spend some more time on this. Madam Ambassador, before we wrap this up, why do you think the US is so frustrated? I think it's got something to do with the mechanism to suspend. Under Article 5, if the allies begin to distrust the United States, doubt the United States' reliability, all under Article 5, what does this mean for America's global leadership? They're emerging this new world order that we're continuously talking about. And the General pointed out that this might be that big first crack that leads to the dissolution of the NATO alliance. It's not the need of the hour. What's your assessment about the long-term consequences here? Very quickly, ma'am.
The long-term consequences are going to be bad for everyone in general, because this new world order is going to be very chaotic. And up till now, yes, it wasn't great, but it was still, there was some semblance of order and stability and some predictability. Now, all that is completely gone. Predictability is finished. The cracks have started showing, as mentioned by the General also. And in general, this is, the beginning is there. The rupture hasn't taken place yet. But if President Trump continues the way he's going and the way he's been behaving, it is going to be the end of this complete alliance. And it's going to be not good, I think, for the world. But yes, the change is constant, and a new world order which emerges. There will be differences, but I presume, or I hope, that it will again rebalance itself.
Well, domestic politics of global strategy, I think we'll leave it at that. It's still early doors to understand it, but the cracks are certainly emerging. If trust, like the NATO alliance, becomes conditional and this entire alliance stops being that shield that it was set out to become, it clearly becomes a negotiation table. And at that particular point in time, is this a temporary rift or a beginning of a new world order? Well, that's the question that we leave the viewers with as well. Ambassador, always a pleasure to have you with us here on News9. General Kocha, what more can I say? Always a pleasure to have your insights on the show as well. Well, that's a wrap on this edition of In Your Interest. We're going to catch you again next week. Many thanks for watching.
With AI-powered systems like the DSU AI Factory, threats can be detected and countered in real time, protecting lives. Artificial intelligence is transforming industry and shaping the future. Behind every breakthrough lies one essential force: compute power. Dayananda Sagar University, we are building a next-generation AI ecosystem where powerful infrastructure meets bold ideas, shaping tomorrow's intelligence.
Walk down Cool Street. When you're hot, we'll cool you down on Cool Street. On Cool Street. On Cool Street. Ooh, I'm cool. Chill your bill. I'm cool. Chill your bill. I'm cool. Chill your bill.
After a blockbuster first season, where corporate giants and industry leaders ruled the court, TV9 Network presents the Ultimate Corporate Badminton Championship Season 2. A battle of skill, speed and supremacy with a massive 5 lakh rupee prize pool across categories at Pulela Gopichand Badminton Academy, Gachibowli, Hyderabad from the 15th to the 17th May 2026. The court is set. Let the battles begin. Catch the action only on TV9 Network. To register, log on to www.tv9x.com.
Associate sponsor KL deemed to be university. Special partners Campa Sure, Shukar hai, Sure hai. Venue partner Pulela Gopichand Badminton Academy.
हमें स्वस्थ रखने वाली सारी चीजें ज्यादातर शुद्ध होनी चाहिए। सूर्य की किरणें और स्वच्छ पानी, वैसा ही है लाइन अरेबियन डेट्स और अब लाइन लाइना डेट्स। इसमें फाइबर्स और विटामिन्स भी कुदरती हैं, जो देता है स्वास्थ्य भी कुदरती।
लाइन लाइना प्रीमियम डेट्स। Water overflowing, what could it be?
This is India's #1 news network and you're watching News 9, English news as it should be.
Imagine paying nearly 20 crore rupees not for a house in Mumbai, not even a luxury supercar, but just for a ticket to watch the FIFA World Cup in New Jersey and from a vintage position, that is certainly not from a royal VIP box, but from behind the goal post. 4 tickets for the 2026 FIFA World Cup final in New Jersey on 19th of July have been listed on FIFA's official resale marketplace for a staggering $2.3 million each, equal to almost 19 to 20 crore Indian rupee per seat. Now, these premium tickets are for seats located behind the goal post, what many fans would call a vintage